Last class we learned that when the gas are equilibrium at temperature T, the average kinetic energy is equal to 3/2 kBT. But this does not mean that all the particles have same energy as 3/2 kBT. Some particles have more energy than this one, and some particle has smaller energy than the average. Some particles move fast, and some particles move slower. So there is a kind of distribution of the molecule. This is a speed distribution of the molecules at temperature T. This distribution is called Maxwell Boltzmann distribution. You may recall that we already learned Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution when we discussed blackbody radiation. Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution are composed of three parts. The first part are called Boltzmann factor. According to Boltzmann, when the system is at thermal equilibrium at T, the probability that the system has energy E is exponential e to the minus e over kBT. For monatomic gas, energy is equal to 1/2 mv square. So this term for our case is equal to kBT. This part is called Boltzmann factor. And second part is called, maybe called degeneracy factor. For this degeneracy factor, I'm gonna visualize this. This is the container which contains gas molecule. Some particles, the velocity of some particles looks like this. And I'm gonna show this velocity vector in three-dimensional vector space. X, Y, and Z. So this vector corresponds to the points. Some particles move in this direction. So this vector maybe corresponds to this one. In this way, I'm going to display all the points which represent the velocity vector. It may be randomly distributed. You get a cloud of randomly distributed points. Each point corresponds to the velocity vector of each particle. So in this diagram, when we draw sphere with constant radius v, points, all the points on the sphere has same energy because energy is proportional to Vx square, Vy square, and Vg square. All the points on the surface of sphere has same energy. They only differ in the direction. So all the points have the same energy. So this is the number of points on the sphere is called degeneracy. The number of points is proportional to the surface area of the sphere. So when the radius is v, the surface area is proportional to 4 pi v square. So this term is called degeneracy factor. So this vector is 4 pi v square. And finally, the first term, last term, is called normalization vector. This vector is neat because this one is actually probability. That particle has velocity v. for the FV, the probability the FV satisfy this equation. Because this is probability, when you sum all the probability, it must be 1. When you sum or integrate all the probability, it should be 1. So we need normalization constant to satisfy this equation. When you calculate the normalization constant, it is equal to m 3/2. So this is called Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution. When you draw this Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution, the graph looks like this. So given this probability distribution, we can calculate many interesting quantities, such as we can calculate the average velocity V, or you can calculate average of U square. How do you calculate U? According to statistics, you can calculate it using probability distribution function FU. Using this formula, you can calculate average of U. Similarly, you can calculate average of U square using this formula. Given FU, you can integrate this one. It turns out that average of this one is when you integrate this formula, it turns out that the average is equal to. And you average calculate this formula. U square formula is, what is this? So this is our result. Now, the most important thing is that what is the physical meaning of FU, Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution? Physical meaning of FU, Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution. Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution allow us to define temperature. Now consider the container. The particle moves in randomly, and you measure the speed distribution. The distribution may not be Maxwellian. This distribution is not Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution. What Maxwell and Boltzmann argue is that if the distribution is not Maxwell and Boltzmann distribution, the distribution kept changing as time goes by. As time goes by, distribution changes. And as time goes by, distribution also changes. As time goes by, distribution kept changing. But after some time, eventually, this distribution converges to Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution. After some time. Finally. And Maxwell and Boltzmann argue that if the distribution, once the distribution is Maxwell and Boltzmann, it stops changing. It does not change anymore. So this distribution is at equilibrium. This is very important. If the distribution is not Maxwell and Boltzmann, the distribution kept changing. Once the Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution is established, the distribution does not change because the system now is at equilibrium. At this point, we can define temperature. Okay, so temperature is only defined only when the distribution is in Maxwell-Boltzmann. So Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution allows us to define temperature. This is the important meaning. Maxwell-Boltzmann. Okay. Now let's move on to real gas. Ideal gas satisfy ideal gas law, but real gas deviate from this ideal gas law. So quantify how much real gas deviate from the ideal gas. We are introduced compressibility factor G to quantify how much the real gas deviate from ideal gas. This one is defined as PV over nRT. This one may be modified a little bit. Now this quantity, when temperature and pressure and number of moles is given, nRT over P is maybe defined as VID. VID means the volume. If the molecular gas satisfy behaves like an ideal gas. This one is different. This is actual volume. This is calculated volume. If the gas behaves as an ideal gas. If the gas behaves ideal gas, given at Tpn, the volume must be calculated to be nRT over P. So compressibility factor may be defined as V over VID. V is the real volume. VID is the volume. If the gas behaves like an ideal gas, they take VID. For ideal gas, G equal 1. Definitely. But sometimes G may be larger than 1. Sometimes G equal smaller than 1. For G is larger than 1, V is larger than VID. When G is smaller than V1, V must be smaller than VID. What happens when V is larger than VID? This is the volume when V equal VID, so G equal 1. This is gas molecule. Now, when G is smaller than 1, actual volume is this one. In this case, G is smaller than 1. This is gas molecule. And when V is larger than VID, G is larger than 1. This is the ideal gas where the gas molecule does not interact with each other. Why V is smaller than VID for G is smaller than 1? There must be attractive interaction. So V is smaller than VID. So in this case, attractive force dominate. In this case, repulsive force dominates. So the volume is larger than VID. So we can summarize that. When G equal 1, there are no interaction between molecules, which is ideal gas. But when the attractive force dominates, G must be smaller than 1. When the repulsive force is dominates, G must be larger than 1. So there are three cases. When you draw compressibility factor as a function of pressure, the graph looks like this. For CH4 molecule, at high pressure, G is larger than 1. At small p, G is smaller than 1. Why? When P is high, pressure is high. So, when pressure is high, the molecule get close to each other. When pressure high, volume decrease. So the molecule nearly get in touch with each other. So repulsive force dominates in this case because volume gets smaller. The molecule close to each other. They nearly contact with each other. So the repulsive force dominate. So G must be larger than 1. So this one. But when the pressure is small, the volume increase. So the distance between two molecules are moderate. So in this case, they experience attractive force between two molecules. So G is smaller than 1. This is a typical graph of G as a function of pressure. Now, for real gas, deviate from ideal gas law. So, V equal dV. So the question is, why real gas deviate from ideal gas? The answer comes from Van der Waals. Van der Waals argued that gases are composed of particles. He argued that real gas deviate from ideal gas law because gases are composed of particles. Particles have finite volume. Then secondly, gas molecules are attractive with each other. So there must be attractive interaction. Due to this factor, real gas deviate from the ideal gas. So in first part, the molecule has finite volume. So the volume which are available for the molecule to move around is smaller than the total volume because the molecule occupies finite volume. So this one must be modified by V minus NB. NB corresponds to the finite volume of the molecule. They must be subtracted from the total volume because the volume available to the molecule is smaller than the total volume because the molecule itself occupies the volume. So this one corresponds to the finite volume of the molecule. So B corresponds to the molecular size. And secondly, the finite molecules are attractive with each other. So the pressure must be less than the pressure. So we need negative terms. because the molecule attract each other, the pressure must be smaller than the pressure if the molecule behave as an ideal gas with negative sign carries. So this one represents the strength of attraction. So according to Van der Waals, with the two parameters A and B, we can explain the real gas. A represents the strength of attraction, B represents the size of molecules. But generally speaking, when the size of molecule increase, the attractive interaction also increase because the force are due to dispersion force. Generally speaking, B increase, then A also increase. This is general trend. But there's an exception for this trend. Representative example of exception is water. Water has small value of B because water is small, but it has large A. How to explain this observation? Small water molecule has large A, large attractive interaction. It turns out that water molecule has strong hydrogen bonding. Due to this strong hydrogen bonding, the A value for water molecule is very, very high compared to the small size of the molecule. So it plays a very important role in water molecule. Okay. And as I said, the molecule has potential energy. So we can define potential energy between two molecules. This potential form suggested by Leonard and Jones. Leonard and Jones suggest the mathematical formula describing potential between two molecules. It is equal to 2 epsilon the potential between two molecules are represented by this formula. The first term carries positive sign. It means that the first term represents repulsive interaction, whereas second term carries minus sign. The second term represents attractive interaction. This one scales is R to the minus 12, and second term scales as R to the minus 6. So this potential is often called 12-6 potential. Repulsion is proportional to R to the minus 12. Attraction proportional to R to the minus 6. So this potential is often called 12-6 potential. Anyway, the first part represents repulsion, second part represents attraction. And we have also two parameters, epsilon and sigma. When we draw this potential energy, it looks like this. First, the epsilon represents the well depth. When E increase, well depth increase. The first parameter epsilon represents the well depth of this potential. So this parameter represents attractive interaction. the second parameter sigma, when r equals sigma, what is r equal sigma? When r is substituted by sigma, this one substituted by r sigma, this one is substituted by sigma, it is equal to 0, right? When r equals sigma, the potential is 0. So this one corresponds to sigma, right? But as you can see, this potential are very, very steep. Near r equals sigma, very, very increase very sharply. This is asymptote. So this is the characteristic of this potential. This potential is very increase very sharply. This is the asymptote, and the asymptote is approximately equal to sigma. Sigma represents the asymptote of this potential curve. What does asymptote means? For argon case, the asymptote occurs at 30 angstrom. What does that mean, 30 angstrom? This is argon atom. This is argon atom. The asymptote R equal 3 angstrom means that the radius of argon is equal to 1.5 angstrom. This potential curve means that the argon molecule cannot get smaller than the 3 angstrom. When the argon approach closer to the 3 angstrom, the potential goes to infinity. The argon cannot get closer smaller than 3 angstrom. It means that the atomic radius of argon must be 1.5 angstrom. So they cannot approach closer than 3 angstrom. The asymptote is at R equal 3 angstrom means that the radius of argon is 1.5 angstrom. So this one roughly allows us to estimate the atomic radius of angstrom. For this case, R is sigma over 2 equal to 1.5 angstrom. So we can estimate the atomic radius of argon with this parameter sigma. So sigma allows us to estimate atomic radius. So for summarize, for Lennard-Jones potential, we have two parameters, epsilon and sigma. Epsilon corresponds to the well depth, and sigma allows us to estimate the atomic radius. This is epsilon. Now I'm going to compare epsilon with kBT. In thermodynamics, kBT is estimate or measure of thermal energy. According to thermodynamics, kBT is a measure of thermal energy at temperature T. I'm going to compare kBT, which is thermal energy, with epsilon. Epsilon represents the well depth of the potential. Now first, what happens to this case? When kBT, smaller than epsilon, then molecule are trapped in the potential well. In this case, thermal energy is not enough to overcome well depth. So molecules are in the below the potential well depth. So the molecule are trapped in the molecule. So in this case, the molecule forms liquid state or solid state. In this region, the molecule feels attractive first. They are trapped in the potential well. So definitely the molecule is in the liquid or solid state in this case. Now what happens? Epsilon are smaller than kVt. In this case, thermal energy has enough energy that escape well depth. So energy is larger than this one. So in this case, the molecule feels repulsive force. They escape from the trapped potential. They move freely, right? Because kinetic thermal energy is larger than the potential well depth. They can overcome this energy. They can move freely. So the physical state is gas state. In this case, they only feel repulsive force. Now let's move on to deeper look. In deeper look, we are going to turn our attention to collision frequency. Two collision frequency, GW and G1. First, I'm going to define what GW and G1 means. In GW, this is the container. The container contains molecule. This is the wall. And the molecule collide with the wall. So GW measures how frequently the molecule collide with the wall. How frequently the molecule collide the wall is defined as GW. W stands for wall. Now move on to G1. In G1, the molecule collide with each other. This one is called G1. G1 measures how frequently collide with each other, with each gas molecule. This gas molecule and this gas molecule can collide with each other. How frequently they collide with each other is defined as G1. So in deeper look, we are going to derive equation for GW and G1. Before deriving expression for GW and G1, why GW and G1 is important? For GW, I'm gonna drill a hole, small hole. Then molecule escape this container through this hole. So this process is called effusion. Effusion, molecule pass through the container and digs out this container. This process is called effusion. And effusion rate turn out to be proportional to GW. Because when the hole isn't blocked, it is bouncing off the wall. But when the hole is made, instead of bouncing off the wall, they effuse out. So effusion rate is proportional to GW. Then why effusion rate is important? You may conjecture that effusion rate is proportional to inverse of molecular mass. Heavy molecule moves slowly, so effusion rate is small. lighter molecule moves fast, so effusion rate is high. What is this is important? For example, there's a mixture of uranium. This is a mixture of uranium. Then according to this equation, uranium 235 effuses out faster than the uranium 238 because this one is lighter than uranium 238. But as you know, we need 235 uranium because with this uranium we can make an atomic bomb. With this uranium we cannot make atomic bomb. We can only make uranium atomic bomb using 235 uranium. How do you separate uranium 235 from 238? We are going to use effusion process. This one escape out more fast than the uranium 238. So we are going to use effusion process to separate uranium 235. So GW is so important. When we derive the formula for GW, it turns out that effusion rate is proportional to this one, square root of mass. And secondly, why is G1 is important? As I said before, G1 is the collisional frequency with each other. But actually, G1 is not important. Actually, we are going to use G1 to calculate lambda, which is called mean free path. Mean free path is important, but to calculate mean free path, we are going to need G1. So G1 is important because lambda is important. Now, what is mean free path? Gas molecule moves in a straight line and it collides with another molecule and the direction is changed. And it flies again in straight line, it collides with another molecule and the direction changes again. And it flies straight line freely and collide again. So this segment is called free path. This segment is free path. The distance in which the molecule flies freely without collision. This is free path, this is free path, this is free path. But the distance of each free path is different. When you take the average of free path, this is called mean free path. This one is very, very important. Why? Using mean free path, we can define diffusion constant. Which is equal to lambda u bar. We can calculate viscosity. Viscosity is turned out to be rho lambda u bar. This is density. U bar is average velocity. We can also define kappa, which is thermal conductivity. Which is turned out to be rho lambda u bar times C. This is heat capacity. So, to determine diffusion coefficient, viscosity coefficient, thermal conductivity coefficient, we need mean free path. With this mean free path, we can calculate diffusion coefficient, viscosity coefficient, thermal conductivity. But to determine lambda, we need G1. Why? I'm gonna take an example. Let's say G1 is equal to 10 per second. and U bar is 100 meter per second. What does this mean there? G1 is 10 per second. It means that the molecule collision 10 times per second, right? Then it means that the molecule flies freely 1/10 seconds. Thus, this one means that the molecule experiences 10 collisions per second. It means that the molecule can fly 1/10 seconds freely without collision. With this time interval, the speed is 100 meters per second. Then how much, what is the distance the molecule travels? The distance is 10 meters per second. Right? This is time interval, and the speed is 100 meters per second. When you multiply two quantities, we can obtain mean free path, 10 meters per second. So lambda may be calculated using this formula, U bar over G1. This one is 1/G1. So when you multiply this one with this one, we can calculate mean free path. So anyway, with this G1, we can calculate lambda. With lambda, we can calculate diffusion coefficient, viscosity coefficient, and thermal conductivity. So G1 is important. So we are going to derive formula for G1. Now, let's derive the formula for GW. This is the container. Molecules are inside the container. This is the cross-sectional area. The cross-sectional area of this box is called A. Now, GW is proportional to A, definitely. When A rise, the collisional frequency increase. And the second, the number density. When the density of the molecule increase, definitely the collisional frequency increase. And thirdly, speed of molecule. When the speed of molecule increase, the collisional frequency must be increased. So GW proportional to average velocity, number density, and cross-sectional area. So GW are proportional to this one. For GW, there must be proportionality constant. According to the exact calculation, the proportionality constant turned out to be 104. So this is the GW. So in this box, assume that there are two kinds of molecules, A molecule and B molecule. A mixture of A and B contains in this box. And I drill a small hole. Then B may be fused out